lot about inflation. I want to ask you about uncertainty. With the House announcing that they will ratify USMCA and Canada and Mexico signing off on it, do you see that uncertainty easing now so the business investment could pick up? Or are the trade tensions with China just that big elephant in the room where you might not see those business investments pick up?
Well, I did see the news today that it appears there's an agreement to move forward to a vote on USMCA. And, of course, it's not our role to comment on particular trade policies or criticize them one way or the other or evaluate them. I will say, though, that getting if the deal were to be enacted, then it would certainly remove some of the trade policy uncertainty, and that would be, I believe, a positive for the economy. And I'll say the same thing about the negotiations with China, which haven't reached that point yet. We've been hearing from our people that we talk to, the many people and businesses that we talk to through the reserve banks that wind up being written up in the Beige Book, and they've been telling us all year, for a year and a half really, that trade policy uncertainty is weighing on the outlook. And I do think that, again, without commenting in any way on the process or the content of the agreement, I think that removal of uncertainty around that would be a positive for the economy as well.
Is one uncertainty bigger than the other? Do you see, not commenting on the deals themselves, is one uncertainty for business?
I think you can, I think you can see that what's been moving. One way to look at it is what's been moving financial markets. It's been news about the negotiations with China, not so much USMCA. I think the difference between NAFTA and USMCA is smaller than the difference between current, arrangements with China and what's being negotiated.
Hi, Matthew Bosler with Bloomberg. Chair Powell, the Fed policy review this year has largely been discussed in terms of the inflation side of the mandate and the need to shore up inflation expectations. But it seems like the message you've been getting from the Fed Listens events and also something else you've recently acknowledged is that, the Fed has also been systematically overestimating labor utilization throughout this expansion. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the extent to which the review is looking at the employment side of the mandate as well. Are there any possibilities, for perhaps systematizing a more asymmetric reaction function with regard to unemployment? Thank you.
Yeah. So the focus really is on how to use our strategies, tools, and communications to achieve both sides of the mandate. You're right, though, that we've talked here a lot about inflation, and I think that I think more broadly, over a period of years, many years, we've been learning that the natural rate of unemployment is lower. It's in estimates, not just at the Fed, but broadly among economists, labor economists, have seen that the connection that we can sustain much lower levels of unemployment than had been thought. And as I mentioned, that's a good thing because that means we don't have to worry so much about inflation. And you see the benefits of that in today's labor market. The Fed Listens event are about inflation to a much lesser extent than they are about maximum employment. If you listened to or attended any of those, the discussion, we always focus on inflation as well, but the discussion is really around what's happening in low and moderate income communities and among small businesses. And I think you get a perspective which we were already getting that from our extensive outreach to community groups and such, but it was helpful to get it in the context of a monetary policy review. And I think that the fact that these communities have such high levels of unemployment and low levels of labor force participation tells you that there is slack out there. And I think that does also inform our understanding of what we mean by maximum employment. And it's been a very positive. I would say that the Fed Listens events have been extraordinarily positive, and they're certainly something we'll repeat. You also see from the business perspective that companies are taking all kinds of measures to look through things on people's resume that would have perhaps disqualified them in other kinds of environments. Training is moving up. You hear just a lot. There are a lot of things going on that suggest that people at the margins of the labor force are being pulled in and being given chances, which is a great thing.